Hello and welcome to the channel's book club, compliments of the season. To round up 2014, we want to introduce to you our favorite heroes, projects and books for the year. Now, these heroes may not be known or widely celebrated, but they go on and do their own things while impacting lives in the process. For us here, those who focus on helping communities develop a culture for reading, learning and education stand out. At the channel's book club show heroes for 2014. First of all, meet Dapo Konde, Ayo Ilori, Deji Aino, and Oluwatoyin Omotayo, four young professionals who are behind the establishment and operation of the Ojokoro Community Library based in Lagos, southwest of Nigeria. This community library is a small 28 users per time local library set up in a low-income area with the aim of developing a reading culture within the community. The library has over 1,500 books with an average of over 70 users per day and a peak of 129 people per day. 70% of the users are mainly junior and senior secondary school students who spend between 1 to 3 hours after school daily at the library. These change makers are just getting started. They intend to plant more libraries in more local communities. Now imagine community libraries in every corner of local governments in Nigeria.
Vision started 5 years ago, it grew out of a feeling of discontent by one of our friends. His name is Ayo Ilori. He's not around right now. He's in India doing his master's degree. So he noticed that a lot of the young people around here are not interested in education again. They are not investing as much as they should in educational development, and he was sad about that because he remembered we grew up in this environment. So he remembered when we were younger how we used to compete amongst one another educationally in terms of academic performance and all that. So he felt sad about it, and he began to think about it. It was during that period that he got in contact with a book and got a quote from a book that says, what it takes for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. I've forgotten the person that quoted that made that quote, but he got that information, and that spurred him on that we needed to do something. So he called a couple of us together, and that's how we started. We brainstormed, and we started our first program, which was a quiz competition after the brainstorming session, because we had to think about it. Why are they not interested in education anymore? A lot of factors come into play. One of them is the fact that there's really no reward in the short term, middle term, and even in the long term. When I say short term, if you look at what is happening in Nigeria generally now, we have all these programs on TV, especially focusing on arts and entertainment, and they get so much support, and the winners get so much money, but we don't have that in education per se, so a lot of the young people are getting distracted. They are looking towards that place. So that's in the short term. In the medium term, when you talk about getting into tertiary institutions, the number of students that apply for JAM every year is over 1 million. The number of students that our tertiary institutions, both the polytechnics, the universities, and the college education can accommodate per time is no more than 300,000. So even if all of them get 290 or 300, they all can be admitted. It's a fact. So even in the medium term, they are not getting into school. That's another issue. Then in the long term, they are not getting jobs. So there are really no jobs in sight. So why do we have to invest so much in education, spend so much time investing in education, and we don't get rewarded? So those are one of the reasons, amongst many others, including infrastructure and all that. So we decided to encourage them by starting with the quiz competition, and we attached different kind of rewards to it. Yes, that's how we started.
I found out from the brain challenge, that was the initial thing. We started with the competition. We have a reward system for them. We found out that we had to pick out some certain set of youth and then take them out to shopping mall, give them incentives. What about those who were remaining? we had to do something to them. We had to, like, it led to the academy where we train them, we encourage them, give them, kind of morals and all. So, and then it also led to the mentorship program. We found that after the academy, what next? Do we now leave them to themselves? So we had to bring in mentors there. And we found out that, one, they could be mentored right in their career. Then what happens afterwards? They get into the universities, we don't know what. We had to put a system into place whereby they can come around and then we can monitor them. And as a librarian, I kind of suggested we have this, coupled with the fact that we wanted to encourage reading, stimulate them, academic at the grassroots level. So basically that was it. It just kept evolving to one thing or the other.
Another Channels Book Club 2014 hero is Fumi Ilori for initiating the I Read mobile library, which is a community-based initiative that brings reading, learning, and books to people in their own community spaces. The mobile library bears the long-term dream of becoming the largest children library on wheels in Africa. The mobile library gives members between the ages of 3 to 19 years the opportunity to access, browse, and check out books weekly. It operates in over 24 schools and 21 communities in southwest Nigeria and is gaining recognition locally and internationally.
Everybody, let's roll for ourselves. Roll. Let's go. I am great.
For the mobile library, we have two segments. We have the static library, where children come around here, they read for every hour, and we have the mobile library that visits them at home. The van moves from one location to the other. We already have a schedule, and we have educators that go along with the truck. When the children come into the truck, they pick a book that they would like to read for the week. Aside that, they also read books in the truck. We organize club meetings with them. At the club meetings, we discuss things about maybe financial intelligence. We teach them poise and etiquette. We tell them the importance of reading, and we ensure that the children do a good review. We have a review book where the children write all the things they have read, and with that, we're able to monitor their reading progress.
Coco Kalango is another Channels Book Club hero for 2014 for helping to win the bid to make Port Harcourt the UNESCO World Book Capital City for 2014 and successfully running the city's books and reading programs for the year. Kalango is one of Africa's leading book and reading activists who started her activism in 2005 with the goal to see children in rural communities in the Niger Delta reading again. Some years after, she made Nigeria proud by making Port Harcourt the center of attention as a 2014 UNESCO World Book Capital City.
Talk about reading, it has to do with education, and education is priceless, particularly in an economy like today's one, which is a knowledge economy. Capacity building is so important, and ultimately, encouraging reading is really also capacity building. Now, where there is information, where people can read and access information, then it makes development even easier, and we're able to more easily achieve the Millennium Development Goals. When people are educated, for instance, they know how to deal with issues of security, safety, health, infant mortality. So it all, literacy and reading is important to the wider picture of development in a society. Because of the World Book Capital Project, there would be increased tourism in the city of Port Harcourt and indeed in Nigeria. So these are just some of the benefits. Economically, we expect to see an increase in business in the book chain particularly, and in other areas, hospitality, etc.
Remember Tosin Jegede, the child prodigy whose singing talent took Nigeria by storm years ago? Well, Tosin is currently on a literacy mission in Nigeria. She's a 2014 Channels Book Club hero for her One Child, One Book project. This project is about giving every primary school child an age-appropriate book, building an early foundation for the enjoyment of reading, and establishing a sustainable book exchange program. Tosin gets books from charitable organizations and individuals, including Nigerian authors and publishers, and she puts them into the hands of children in local communities and schools. Her goal is to reach every child in Nigeria, starting from Lagos State's 20 local government authorities, 986 primary schools, and the over 445,000 children in those schools. From singing to social work, Tosin Jegede keeps on lighting up hearts. Finally, Daniela Clinton makes our 2014 Heroes Group for her Child Authors Foundation. Daniela is a 14-year-old whose vision and talents prove that age is no barrier to impacting the lives of others. She was only 7 years old and in primary 3 when she completed 2 storybooks, The Snake and the Hunter's Wife and Daniel in Toyland in September 2010. Daniela is currently the youngest author and illustrator to be published by Tricon Books, UK, as well as Nigeria's youngest, most published author and illustrator of children's storybooks. Her Child Authors Foundation is a non-governmental organization aimed at driving the vision of Daniela, who believes that every child can read and write, if nurtured in the right environment and given the necessary support. Imagine a Nigeria where every child can have the education and vision Daniela has.
Currently, I have a program going on titled the Read and Write With Me project. It's focused on actualizing the vision of my foundation, the CAF, which is to discover, inspire, and groom more child authors. It's a campaign against oil pipeline vandals and oil thieves who destroy our economy and ecology. And 3, it's a campaign against kidnapping.
And you're out to deal with these issues?
Yes.
At 11?
Yes.
I mean, this is fantastic. Okay, tell me, why do you think these are major issues to deal with?
Because I know that my generation is being influenced by these kind of people